Are you a woman standing at a crossroads, eager for change? It's time to connect with your authentic and empowered self at Boss Leap. Join Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker in this empowering community where real-life stories of courageous and talented women inspire and motivate. Engage in honest conversations that foster well-being, drawing from our own journeys. Let us guide you toward profound growth and transformation in both your personal and professional life. Here are your hosts, Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker.
Hello, and welcome back to Boss Leap. I am Dr. Angela Walker, and I'm here with my co-host, the amazing Dr. Sylvia Morris. And here's a question I want to pose. What if the most powerful stories aren't the loudest ones, but the ones hidden in plain sight? Today's guest, Chelsé Storm Lilly, lives at the crossroads of storytelling, community development, and design thinking. And she's built an entire creative brand around it. She's the founder of Taken by Storm, where photography meets narrative design and visual ethnography, with the goal of turning everyday moments into stories that actually mean something. We're talking about how she earns trust in the community she works with, why ethics matter so much in this kind of work, and how technology is changing the way we capture and share stories. She's got a gift for seeing what others might overlook, and then helping the rest of us to see it too. We were so overwhelmed with everything that she had to bring and offer to the conversation. And during her interview, she told us about the importance of identifying the why in the stories that she tells. Not only her why, but the why actually that's involved in the stories that she tells. And that led us to reflect on our why for Boss Leap podcast. So Sylvia, tell us what your thoughts are.
I am patting ourselves on the back because we are 40 odd episodes in. We are fast approaching our first anniversary, and I am so proud of us. So our why, of course, started out with just telling stories, untold women's stories, women like ourselves who are professionals or had different career paths. And how do we capture all that information and share it such that people understand that they are not alone? So my why is we want to share information so that people are inspired to make their own leaps. What about you, Angela?
I agree. You used my word at the very end, is to inspire. And I think, we thought about what inspires us, what we like to listen to, what we like to hear, what gives us some mojo to go out and do, the things that we do on a daily basis. We talked about being inspired by our patients. And just, again, those everyday stories that we hear about women making bold career moves, bold relationship moves, just bold decisions in their lives and leaping from one lily pad to the next and getting to where they feel like they're meant to be. And I think our overall why was just to be able to share the stories in a format that felt comfortable to everyone, comfortable for us, comfortable for our guests, and definitely comfortable for our audience to feel like they were connected to the stories or could at least appreciate the stories being heard, and perhaps something that would give them joy, inspiration, motivation to do some of these bold career or life or relationship moves themselves. And so we know that our current guest has a clear and concrete why as to what she does in her life, and we cannot wait to get into it. So I think without further ado, Sylvia, we will introduce Chelsé Storm Lilly.
Welcome back to Boss Leap. My name is Dr. Sylvia Morris, and I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Angela Walker. And today we have an awesome conversation with Chelsé Storm Lilly. Chelsé, welcome to Boss Leap.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here. If it looks like I'm calm, I'm really not.
Oh, you are the calm in the storm?
Yes. Storm. I see what you did there.
Yeah, I like that. So for full disclosure, because I didn't add it in the introduction, I have known you, as you say, all of your life. And and so excited to have you here. And I'm so proud of all that you've accomplished in your life, but, just in your personal life and as a mother, but in your career and how it's just taking off, as they say, like a rocket ship. So we'd love our audience to share and know all about what you're doing, who you are. And so if you would just start by taking us back to the beginning, you're an ethnographer, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
How did you get into, visual ethnography? And was there like a pivotal moment or a series of events that set you on this path? And was there someone that inspired you?
But first, tell us what video ethnography is.
That would help.
What visual ethnography is. Okay, so yeah, I know it's a lot and a lot of people haven't heard it, but visual ethnography is it's kind of almost a research-based approach to photography, but not heavy too much on the research. Really, it's like I like to document and kind of interpret maybe like the cultural, the social, like the human aspect, really community and culture. So that could be, I do a lot of sports. I also do a lot of community work, family, being around family, and really just kind of notating how the stories tell within the lens. But then I also write with the photography. So it's really interesting because it's rooted in anthropology, and it's also rooted in sociology. And it's something that I came across because just taking photos has been great, but whenever I take photos, it's like storytelling to me. I look for what's behind, the moment that we see. A good example, just to try to put it into like a picture for you, is I remember seeing a grandmother, and she was teaching her granddaughter how to braid her hair. And the first thought that I had was, well, who taught you? And why was it so important for you to teach her? And was it just a need? Like my brain just goes like a million miles.
So that's the anthropology.
Yeah. And being able to tell the story within the lens. So I'm taking this picture of them, and it's her braiding the hair, and she's smiling, and the little girl is like listening to her tell these stories about when she was younger and how her mother used to do that for her. So I try to tell that story within photography. You can do it within film. You can do it within audio as well. But for me, it's the photography part. So
love that.
And is this a relatively new field? I mean, certainly anthropology is old. Moving pictures was a 20th century invention. So how old is this discipline?
I could not tell. I wish I could tell you. I was looking for, I came across the title of visual ethnography, really doing the research, trying to find where I fit in with the way that I saw things when I went to take pictures. I used to tell people I was a street photographer, but I don't always have the same aspects that street photographers have. And of course, when you're talking to someone who's not really into visuals or photography, they're kind of like, well, what's the difference? Like, I don't really get it. But like with event photography and street photography, with events, it's something that's already curated. So you're kind of coming into a gathering or like an activity in order to like concerts, in order to shoot what is already being put together. And then with street photography, it's unscripted. Yeah. And it's more candid, but you're just kind of taking like the public spaces, like urban settings, and you're just trying to make sure that, you see something cool. But with visual ethnography, I'm actually searching for the stories. So I'm actually doing the research on the area that I might be in and looking at buildings that might be, 100 years old and trying to find the stories within them, but also capturing that with the lens. So when I heard of it, I was like, oh my gosh, there is something that I fit into. There's something that I do. And so this is it's an evolution of sorts for me with my work personally and professionally, because I do a lot of community-based work for my career as well. But yeah, I think I'm still learning. I need to do a little bit more when it started, how that term came to be. But I have not heard many people refer to what I do as visual ethnography. They go, oh, you're just an event photographer. You do branding. Like, no, it's a lot deeper.
It's different.
Yeah. It's very different. Yeah.
I mean, where do you think that comes from? I mean, I've always known you to have a camera in your hand.
Yeah.
And in terms of like the investigative or the inquisitiveness, the curiosity, I mean, I already know that's in your family.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's be real. We know your family. So, I mean, did you feel like you had that at a young age, or did you have like an aha moment when you were in college or thereafter?
Honestly, I think I really came to, and I kid you not, when I was 8 years old. So I'm sure you're aware that my father was in the Navy and he was in the military. So I grew up a little military brat. But when my father was overseas during the Gulf War, he sent me a camera. I believe it was for, I say 8th birthday. It might have been 7th, but 7th or 8th birthday. He sent a camera over. And I remember my mother telling me it either took 4 to 6 months for it to, actually get to our doorstep for my birthday. And I remember him writing, saying, take pictures of everything that you think is beautiful. And from that moment, I don't know how I can remember that was drilled in my head. It wasn't like a task I had to do. It was like I was immediately just falling in love with all of these things that I saw every day and I wanted him to be able to see because I knew he was out on water and he wasn't going to be able to see it. And that's translated through my lifetime to, I have a unique perspective. And we all do, honestly, we all have a unique perspective. But I wanted to be able to share mine with the world some type of way. And I feel like I've always tried to find myself, find my place in the world. And that's where my place seems to be. That's where my passion is, where I feel like my purpose is not only for me to share my perspective, but for you to see that your perspective is just as valuable, even more valuable, in a lot of different ways that we don't consider it. We think that we have to shrink ourselves or that we can't, everyone has seen that. Well, maybe there's a way that you are showing them that they've never seen before, or maybe it'll resonate a certain way. So that's how it came to be. My father said, and this is the camera.
That's like a vivid card. Like a little, I have one of those.
I still have it. Yeah. This is the camera.
Wow.
This is my very, very first camera. And this is the camera that he sent over. So it's a real thing. I'm not just talking.
Shout out to Ben Woods,
Yes.
who was a part of creating the storm and her photography. That is awesome. Never heard that story. Love that.
Thank you.
And so tell us, how did you come to the name Storm?
Okay, so I didn't come up with Storm. I used to be really, really involved in everything, well, still am, with everything arts and culture, And at one point in time, I was a music manager. I actually worked in the music business for a little bit.
Anybody that we know or you can share?
I worked with some people that maybe you might know, but not as in like, I was a little lowly intern. I was over there trying to, I wanted to be Sylvia Rohn. I wanted to be Hype Williams. I actually wanted to be a music video filmmaker. So I wanted to do music videos and do all that. But when I was in the music industry, I ended up kind of doing something on the side. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I wanted to, have my own brand and do this. So I had my own little label with some really good friends of mine. And because
record label?
It was a little indie, like
It was
but we focused a lot on really like the A&R aspect, like finding talent and really developing talent, because we would see people that were getting these record deals and on the radio and, no offense to them, but I was like, I know somebody down the street that know how to sing.
Do this.
Right.
About that.
But they probably didn't have the direction. Here I am thinking, 18, 19 years old, I'm thinking I can give somebody some direction. So, I knew what was going on. Yeah. And didn't know anything now that I look back at it. But I had the drive and there wasn't anything that I could navigate at the time. Now, when they call me Storm, that's not, they didn't describe it that way. But that's how it basically came to be, is because they were like, oh, you're like the X-Men character Storm, who is also one of my favorite Marvel characters is Storm. Not just because I did the hair after. So she had it first, but I loved it. And so they used to call me Storm because they were like, there's really nothing that you can't, get over, navigate, kind of do. I don't want to say get over. It sounds like I was being deceptive, that kind of thing. And shout out to Storm. I have on my little, see if I can see my little Storm shirt on today. You know,
So-
but that's why, yeah.
That is drive. That is grit. And to you are a true example of what we call boss leap in terms of you have made these leaps, but you started at such a young age.
Yeah.
And driven by your dreams, which I think is exactly what our listeners love to hear. So can you describe living at this intersection right now of storytelling, community development, which you're involved in, design thinking? What does the intersection actually look like in your daily work?
So that's a really, that was one of the questions. I was like, that's a really, really good question to kind of think about. But my work is, I look at it like a part documentary, part strategy almost. A lot of curiosity, innovation, and intrigue, collaboration, all those things. Just because I hit so many different spots, personally and professionally, in and outside of photography and visual work. I am a higher ed educator as well. I work for Prairie View A&M University.
HBCU.
Yeah, HBCU. And so the stories and the depth of being at an HBCU, especially at 1890 Land Grant University, it's immense. And so as I'm an extension agent, so I work for the College of Agriculture, Food and Natural Resources. And when I
in A&M. Agriculture. I didn't know it still existed. I was like, why do we need that? Okay.
Yeah. So with Prairie View Extension, a lot of what we do is we really give a lot of free resources to the community, mentoring, coaching, development, really just on a wide variety of topics to better help our communities. And to do that, I have to go out into the community and I have to learn those stories. So it's kind of hand in hand, right? So like one day I might be hosting or doing a small business workshop, or I might be teaching branding or financial literacy. And then the next moment I'm taking pictures at this cultural event, and then later on I'm kind of mapping ideas with like community leaders on how to tell their organization story. And so using all of that in design thinking also kind of shapes how I approach these problems. Like I try to listen deeply. I do a lot of prototyping with situations. I do a lot of testing and refining and things of that nature. So that's kind of where it's at that intersection. I do the storytelling, I do the community development, I do the design thinking because they all support one another. And it's such a beautiful kind of melting pot of not only my story and my passions, but then also, what the community and where I'm working and what I'm doing with my life is kind of pouring back into me. So yeah, hopefully that kind of answers that question, but that was like really,
Yeah.
but I'm able to touch on pretty much everything between those intersections. And I love it because they piggyback off one another.
So certainly trust is really important. So you are a part of Prairie View A&M. You're going out to the community. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the relationships between higher ed and the communities in which they live and serve is not always great. But how do you make certain that you maintain the relationship and really build the trust so that you can then do the work in service of the community?
I remain authentic throughout everything. I think I've been that way for a couple of years, not a couple of years. I feel like I've been that way my whole life, but I think it really it's come full circle for me, more so in the last few years, in that you have to show up exactly as you are, where you are, in that moment. And authenticity is how I live my life. It's not just something that I say because it sounds cool or because, that's how you kind of get over and talk to people and get them to talk. If I am speaking with somebody, I'm genuinely interested in what they have to say. Building trust takes authenticity. It takes me showing up, being there. When I speak to community members or families that are in communities, they don't just see me one time, they'll see me multiple times. I'll sit down and have coffee with them. I'll be in the areas that they're in. And when I ask them how they're doing, I don't want them to give me a quick answer. I don't want them to just tell me they're okay, because there's something there that allows me to be able to work with them, and to also show them that I'm truly invested in not just trying to get a paycheck or not just trying to get a story or get a picture, but also understanding that, like I said, my true passion is to show others that they are valuable, that they are beautiful in all ways, that they are powerful in all ways, as I'm learning how to be that myself. So that's really how I try to do that.
Wow.
Very cool. In your mission to translate these, everyday moments into meaningful narratives, how do you decide which moments have the potential to become powerful stories? Is there, feeling, a gut, or
it's like
formula?
Feeling. Oh man, it is very much like a tingling, like it's like spidey senses in the sense of like it's but I also storm senses, yeah. But I have come across so many different people in different situations within this work and within my life, that I think what's important to me, also kind of going into the authenticity part, is I look for moments that really hold truth and that hold emotion. I look for things that make me feel. So when I say, I got that tingling sense, because I feel it. It's almost like don't make fun of me, but I will watch a commercial and start tearing up if it makes me feel the way. That's so embarrassing. I probably shouldn't have said that, but it's fine. Like,
I do the same thing.
Like authenticity.
And I'm sitting there like, it's a Downy commercial. Like, why am I, like, what is happening? Like, what is going on? And then, I go through everything. It was like, okay, I'm just getting older and it's hormones and this, that. But
no, it shows that you're really present and that you are in the moment. And I'm sure, truthfully, the advertiser, director is like, that's exactly what I was going for. So keep feeling your feels.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, I look for that, and that's the emotional part, but holding that truth. There are situations where I will go into an event that, and I will see a story that probably has nothing to do with the event or has nothing to do with why I'm there in the first place. But those moments truly in life, they seem so small to outsiders, to other people, but they really carry weight to the people that's living them. Mm-hmm. And it's like, those are the things that, you never know when you're coming across somebody and the moment that they're in is a moment that's changing their lives. Mm-hmm. And so I try to be aware. And I feel that I feel a lot. I feel more as I'm kind of progressing through life. But I think I've always been extremely empathetic, just extremely like wanting to help others. But also, I can tell when I need to move away from somebody. They might be going through a moment and when I need to come back, or I can tell when I need to just grab somebody's hand, if it's within a consensual space where I can do that and I'm with somebody that, will allow that. But like I said, it really has to do with translating those moments into what holds that truth and emotion. And I just feel it, I just feel it in that moment.
Deep feeling is really important, and being present. Certainly I sense that with you, even through our virtual conversation. How do you not let the camera or the videotape or whatever it is, the technology, not get in the way of those moments?
I'm extremely stealthy. So I'm able to I'm very stealthy. I can kind of navigate, around my environment. But honestly, I don't let it get in the way because like I said, I show up. Mm-hmm. I spend time like really listening. And truthfully, I really don't have any hidden agendas when I go and I do this work. I'm not there to take something from them. I'm there to share, and I'm there to listen. And if they want to, share with me, great. If they don't, like I said, I know when to move around. I know you might not be ready to talk to me or take a picture, or you may not want that. There have been some really, really great pictures I have in my mind that I never took with the camera because it wasn't the time nor the space for me to take it. And so that's really how I don't let it get in the way, because I don't go trying to take,
Along those lines, how do you navigate your clients, if you will, when you actually have, clients that you're, or, companies that you're working for when you're navigating these spaces, because I've had the opportunity to work with you, taking some photos for my website.
Yeah.
And I had an idea of what I wanted. I love the water. I wanted to be by, all these things. And none of those pictures were wonderful because I wanted them. But you were just wonderful in how you navigated. Okay, let's look at this. Oh, I've got a place of, so I think I'm pretty mild in terms of being able to work with, but I can only imagine some of the clients you may work with. How do you navigate that when you're trying to get what looks good and what will look good, but somebody else has another agenda or maybe a hidden agenda, as you mentioned before. How do you work with that?
So I try to. It doesn't always work, but my success rate in working with the people that I work with, it's been great, for the most part, because I don't insert myself as someone that wants to take over. I come as a collaborator. So again, I listen. A lot of times we have stuff. You should have seen me wedding planning. I had lots of stuff in my head that I wanted to do.
Your wedding was absolutely stunning.
And shout out to Waverly Coleman, one of my best friends, my wedding coordinator, and she did all of that. But she also was like, okay, all right, girl, yeah, that's great. And had all of that, kind of taking. And so I think, when you're in a creative space, and I think a lot of creatives will probably have similar stories, when you listen, you have to listen to your clients, you have to know what they want, but you also have to be accepting of what they want. And then you just kind of find that middle ground to work with them in. I have had some clients before that were just extremely a lot. We'll put it that way. They were a lot. Very strong personalities. And I have no problem with a strong personality. I come from a family full of them. So for me, it was like, step back a little bit and do what they want you to do, and then offer them just some extra. And the extra normally works.
Turns out to be what you use. Exactly.
Right. But you don't want to shut someone down just because they have an idea. Because my work and my passion is in seeing what, having others feel valuable, know that they're valuable. I can't show you or actually be truthful to that if I'm shutting you down just because I know what something looks like in my head. Yeah. That's not fair. So let me show you that maybe what you want to do is cool, but this might be a little bit better. So I just, I do that. But then, also moving forward, I'm extremely selective now with my clients.
As you should be.
You're like,
as you can be.
Very selective. I do my research ahead of time. And then that feeling that we talked about comes back. If I don't have a great feeling, if I don't feel like it's a mesh, and sometimes that happens because I don't do sets. So sometimes that happens when I come to wherever the space is.
What do you mean you don't do sets? I don't know.
Well, so I don't normally go into a studio to shoot. Okay. A matter of fact, more recently, I have just decided that's just not where I want to be. Mm-hmm. So I try to avoid that as much as possible. I'm not saying that I won't go into a studio and shoot, but for me, that's not where I feel the story is. I've taken some great pictures, some beautiful pictures in studio. Portrait photography, it's great. And I love working with the people that I worked with in those studio sessions, but it almost feels a little claustrophobic to me. So I like to go where my clients feel comfortable, or where their work is, or where the story is. And I might get to, I might go to a site where we're going to shoot. And if I have a bad feeling about it, or if, the attitudes are just high that day, I try to troubleshoot it. I don't just run away. I try to troubleshoot. I try to be very authentic and very honest, and pulling someone to the side and telling them how I feel and seeing if there's a way that we can kind of make it better. And if it's not, I have no problem giving full refunds. Here you go. So, no problem with that. I also have no problems doing partial refunds because you have to put a deposit down. So that's, I don't have a problem with that. But I just think that it is important for me to do my best work, to feel good in where I'm at and who I'm with. And I want my clients to feel the same way.
We've talked a lot about sort of the energy, the emotion, the feeling behind your work. We spend a little time on the technology, and share with us how technology has changed visual ethnography, and if there's specific platforms or tools that you use.
Sure. First, let me start off with technology is constantly changing. We know that, unfortunately, there are people that are, losing their jobs now because of AI and all of these different things and automation. I have a very hard time with how I feel about technology today because I studied technology. I have a degree in educational technology, and I also studied AI and AR and VR.
Is that your master's?
That is, yes. Just because I love new things, and I get that from my mother. My mother was a computer teacher, so all the technology stuff I really hold in this like fascination. But also, I see that it can be limiting to creativity sometimes.
How so? Tell us more about that.
Sure. So I do work with, we know our chat GPTs and we know our, we utilize AI in a lot of ways because it can help. But I think that for people that kind of get stuck in their creativity, so we have those moments, sometimes writers have writer's blocks. Well, photographers, we have photography blocks. Sometimes we just can't see it. We just don't feel it. We're not getting it. Filmmakers, they're working with a script. There's a lot of obstacles that we all have to overcome as creatives. But then we'll see tools like AI and go, okay, well, I don't really have to think so hard. Let me just type this in, let it spit out what it needs to spit out, and I'll do that. And there's so many people at one time doing it now. They've become educated in a sense, or at least aware, not educated all the way, but they're aware of the tools that are out there now. And instead of kind of like we talk about collaborating with them, they are using them fully for their ideas. They're using them fully for the work. And I think that can be problematic to how we express ourselves and the power in how we express ourselves later down the line. So as far as with visual ethnography, I love research-based tools. So I'm going to use, I still will pull out an encyclopedia. Crazy, but sometimes there's stuff in there that I'm like,
it's not on them.
Yeah, that's not on the, so I'll do that. But then I like to check sources from my sister.
How about that?
So I will just in and I will,
Lewis.
Yeah, I will go in and I will check all these different sources in different mediums just to kind of find what fits what I am trying to do research based. But I rely heavily on my feeling, going into a space, not trying to take anything, just trying to be present in how I do the visual ethnography. But the technology aspect of it, the platforms that I usually for research, like I said, I'll use the Googles, I'll use the AI, I will, pull out books. I like to go to Barnes & Noble. I like to actually have a physical book. I love
in hand
local book center.
I have to have pen and paper and write down and be out there to do that instead of just utilizing the answers AI to shoot out what I need for this work. With the cameras, so I obviously I have my little camera here. I do not use that anymore. 35 millimeter film is still king over here, the queen, but my favorite camera so far, I use a Sony A7R5. R is in resolution. It has a higher resolution. So I like to take really fine details. I like for you to be able to blow up my work and still be able to see stuff in the background. Yeah. So I use that a lot. I also use Fujifilm cameras. So I have an X-T5. And that's like my carry-in camera. Like it's small, it's a little compact for me. So you asked a question earlier on, how I'm supposed to, how do I navigate kind of the clientele or the environment? Small cameras are great. Cell phones are wonderful, but I'm just not it's something about a cell phone that just doesn't feel as authentic to me. And I've seen some amazing amazing cell phone photography. They work that. But for me, it just doesn't do it for me, like being able to take a camera and hold it in both my hands and be able to shoot and then come back and process those images and do all that. But yeah, I'm also getting into drones right now.
Oh, wow.
I'm looking at getting my drone license, really getting into that a little bit more. I love being able to take some aerial footage. I just became aware of underwater drones recently. I was like, that is cool.
Mm-hmm.
The military, they're using those, and then also engineers are using those. And yeah, that was something totally, I just learned about that about a week ago, and I'm already on it. Like, let me figure out how to get into that. Mirrorless cameras are a big thing for me, just because of the way that I process those images. And mirrorless cameras.
What does that mean?
So mirrorless cameras, so you'll have your 35 millimeter or a film camera, and you have your rolls of film. And then there are other cameras. You have your DSLRs, which some of them do have mirrors where they are reflecting. It's basically how you're the way that the camera takes the pictures. Okay. So sometimes it will take a little bit longer. Mirrorless cameras seem to be a little bit faster. So I will use a mirrorless camera just to get a shot really fast. I shoot all the time where I'm just kind of doing this. Sometimes I'll make sure that my ISO is correct, my lighting is correct, that my sharpness is correct, but I need something that's going to take the moment right when the moment is happening, not take a moment and then take 5 seconds to get to the next moment. Yeah. So that's the kind of, when we talk about technology and all of that, that's what I use. But, I think with innovation, as things are coming to be, as we are learning about new tools for research and for photography and for film and creativity, I try to stay on top of that and learn as much as I can and kind of get ahead and find what works for me in what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So with the visual, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
No, I was just saying with the visual ethnography piece, like that's more going to be photography and a little bit of film. So I try to use cameras. Like I said, my mirrorless camera, those Sony cameras are really great. There are a lot of great cameras. With the Sony, I'm able to take video and photos with that same body the way that I like to take them. So that's why I use that. But yeah, what were you asking?
Yeah, no, it's just, I guess what I'm hearing is that you clearly are a creative.
Yeah.
And so you're very accepting of all of the technology and
yes.
the what's coming on board until it starts to hinder the actual creativity part. And you're cautioning that as we move into this new AI and do it for you type of system, that we may start to lose some of the creative process. And I truly appreciate that, because I love the creative process that I see you go through. So
you said it perfectly. You said it perfectly. I should have said it like that. But
much more.
We needed the color.
What I would say for sure is that I'm really mindful that technology kind of changes the how of how we do things, that how, but it really doesn't replace the why.
Yes.
So you got to keep in mind what the why is and not let the technology take over the why.
Perfect. Okay, so here's a follow-up to the why.
Sure.
Give us your best storytelling advice that you've ever received and how it shaped your approach. Was there one, or is there like a collaboration or a collection of tidbits that you've collected along the way?
That is, oh wow, let me think.
And if you can't think of who may have given it to you, what would you give to someone else?
Okay. Well, no, I mean, I've gotten a lot of advice. All that advice wasn't always the greatest advice.
Okay.
There is some advice that's resonated to me when it's come to storytelling. If you know who you are, you don't have to worry about anything anymore. And that wasn't from anybody. That was from Nikki Giovanni. And that's something that I try to keep with me, and I try to be mindful of, because when I'm in a space and I'm trying to tell someone else's story, how can I tell it truthfully, authentically, and be able to do it justice if I am not aware of who I am, why I'm there, what I'm doing? Show up as your full self as much as you possibly can. And so that would probably be the best advice that I would give somebody is, you know, with visual ethnography, don't just tell people, you know, what happened. Show them why it matters. Show them why you're doing this. Show them why this moment matters. Don't be surface level. You know, that's the easy way. That's the easy way. Anybody can pick up a camera and take a picture. But, you know, if you're going to be a creative, be a photographer, be a storyteller, understand there's a difference and there's a uniqueness in all that we do. So, yeah, show people why it matters and show up as your full self and know who you are to the best of your abilities. Like, you have to be authentic when you show up. So, yeah, I think that's what I would say. But yeah.
Great advice. And going back to the truth, you know, talking about people, you know, and what Sylvia was asking about, you know, getting people's trust. I think that's just a good lesson for anybody across any discipline at any stage in your life. If you are authentic, people believe you and can trust you.
Of course.
And learning your authenticity or learning how to, I guess, be that way, it takes years. And you know, some people come out just spouting out what they think is on their mind at all times, and others, you know, kind of learn how to do it with grace. But appreciate that piece of advice.
Yeah, meet people where they are.
Yes,
absolutely. And certainly you are in service as a visual ethnographer. Help me.
Ethnographer.
Ethnographer.
We're both I'm trying to get off the TV. You're trying to get like, I got you.
Thank you.
We know what we mean.
Exactly. But you are in service because you are authentic and you're helping us see the why, because we're not always seeing the why. How do you refill your own cup? Because you're in service to the communities, you're in service at Prairie View A&M to your family, your mother, a wife. How do you then refill your cup?
I pray. I pray and I do this. I finally feel like I'm at a place where I feel like I'm doing what God wants me to do. And I spent most of my life avoiding it, trying to do everything else because I thought I was supposed to be doing other things or a certain way or a different, you know. So to refill my cup, whenever everything is loud, I get quiet and I try to listen and I try to rest the best that I can. I am not someone that shies away from a good nap.
I love that. Ross is restorative.
Yes, in a moment. But I think for me, it's that prayer part, just taking time to sit in, cancel out the noise, breathe, listen to my breathing, pray, and go do something that I'm passionate about because it makes my heart feel good. It makes my mind feel good. We get tired. Equipment is heavy. It's hot.
Yes. All of those. And you're in Texas.
And I'm in Texas and it's hot. And you're out there and you're sweating and you're trying to. But there is nothing like leaving a shoot or an event with that camera, no matter how physically tired I am. My heart is like jumping for joy.
Aww.
And I'm not playing. Like, it is the best feeling to know that I'm doing something that I'm passionate about completely and that I'm allowing myself to do it because I didn't allow myself to do it before. I would half do it. I make time for this and I make time for myself in doing it away from what everybody else wants me to do. Creatives as a whole, you know, we'll get clients that will tell us what they want and we offer a service. We make sure that we do the service to the best of our abilities. But there are moments where I do not work for the client. I will just work for myself. I will just take myself out with my camera and go and shoot some flowers because it's going to make me happy.
Good.
So that's what I did.
And I think that's the sign of someone that's really kind of what I call walking in your calling or in your purpose. When you love what you do so much, you do it even when nobody's paying you to do it, requiring you to do it. So can you tell us, so we know you work for Prairie View A&M as a professor and your work there. Tell us about your business, because I know our audience will definitely, love to know how they could work with you, what that looks like.
Yeah, not a problem. So I own a business. It's called Taken by Storm. Me. And so I focus exclusively on visual ethnography. So like I said, being immersive and being culturally aware, doing storytelling for everything from events to entertainment, concerts. I do sports. I love sports, brand culture, all that great stuff, because
all of it.
Yeah, because it helps others be seen, and in their work and in their passions. So that's why I love entertainment. I love sports. I love events, community events as a whole, because you do see the passion of the people as well. Yeah. But I shoot it through more of a professional, an urban aesthetic in a sense. I like very darks, contrast. I have a style to it. But I do like I said, like to work with brands. And so that's what Taken by Storm is. I do videography work as well. So we're not just documenting with photography, but we also do it. There's some small video work, some stuff you can throw online, throw on Instagram or something. But so with Taken by Storm, it's takenbystorm.co, not .com. Okay. But takenbystorm.co will lead you to a lot of what I do with events, entertainment, sports, and branding. You're able to book there. There's services that I provide that's kind of laid out. And then also my professional portfolio is also listed there. Social media and all the works.
Do you travel?
I do travel. I love to travel.
I know you travel personally, but
yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to get more into that as possible.
Do you like Atlanta?
I do like Atlanta. I have a brother in Atlanta. And he gets some all the time. I haven't seen him. So I do travel, and worldwide. I mean, I don't think there's any place that I won't go. Maybe Australia. I do love my Aussies, but yeah, maybe Australia.
Once you get there, I'm telling you, it's pretty amazing. At least one time. New Zealand's amazing.
I'm gonna trust you, but I saw those Campbell spiders. I don't be.
You'll be all right. Yeah, in the city, you'll be.
I was just playing. I will come anywhere, but no, I do love to travel. I don't have a problem with that. Normally, I'll do a consultation. If someone is interested in something, I've worked with big brands. I have worked with politicians. I have worked with community leaders. A little bit, I'll kind of touch on a little bit of everything, and I will continue to do so.
And follow-up questions. Sorry, I could ask you a million, but I am curious, do you have any vision of where you would see yourself maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
Oh man, the 5 year, 10 year question. I do these for mock interviews.
Yeah, no, you should know. Sorry, just throwing it out there.
No. And even in teaching my students, or clients when we're doing the mock interviews, I try to think of like what I would say in that moment. They're like giving me the answer, and I'm like, I don't even know. I don't know what I would do. Yes, I don't even know. I would hope that I am still able to do this. And I don't know if I want to just be, on this grand scale or not. I would like for my work, to be more accessible. I would like for the work to be seen more. So I am looking, even now for the future, looking more into doing prints, design prints, large scale prints.
Yes.
One of my dreams is to have my work in hotels and like in big businesses. Like I've
already seen some of your work. I mean, how is that even, I've seen a lot of your work, obviously, but even on your website. So I would automatically think that would.
I would hope
like
so.
that.
I don't know why that's like a big thing to me, but like I would love to like be in some hotels, like to have like these big grand, like the entrance when you go into a hotel, you have I would love that. So I'm looking into how I can network or get into that or learn more about large scale printing.
Love that goal.
And then
Here at Chelsé, here at Boss Sleep, we're about intentionality. Yeah. So what we see for you is that your large scale prints are at the Marriott company of the world, because Marriott includes all of those brands. Yeah. And then we're going to also put you at IHG, because they have a whole list of brands as well for their hotels. And then, we may have you at some other places. We're going to be intentional about being at all of the major hotel companies such that your work is seen, and most importantly, the why of the photo is seen.
Yes, that's what's important, and that would be great. So yeah, that's hopefully the next 5 years. I see that.
I see that. I see that. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I can go on and on, but we want to be in interest of time. We know you are a busy woman. Is there anything that we have not mentioned? I know we're going to put all of your contacts in our show notes, but anything that you'd like to share with our audience before we have to say goodbye?
Oh, wow. I want to thank both of you for the opportunity to even be here. Big fan, by the way. Big fan.
Yeah.
It's so necessary and needed, just, the conversations, the interviews that you guys have done, and even the wisdom that you both have, that you've been able to impart onto the community and into these spaces has really been, if you don't know it, it is impactful. And so I've actually shared some of the podcasts with some of my students and let them in, some of the community, when they just kind of need a boost or if they wanted to know something. So please continue to do the work. You have a why as well. And so, yeah, I think that is the most powerful thing about, being a boss. And so I just want to thank you guys and want to be able to, thank anyone, my family, of course, and everyone that has taken a chance on me, all of my clients, former, present, future. Just thank you. Thank you. That's it.
Awesome. Very good. Well, Miss Chelsé, Storm, Lilly, until we meet again, may be well. And thank you so much for your time and you just being you.
Thank you, Chelsé.
Thank you.
That was a fantastic conversation with Chelsé Storm Lilly. She is a visual ethnographer. I can finally say visual ethnographer. I will be truthful, is that I had no earthly idea that was before our conversation today. And I was so excited to hear about, really, it's photography. I'm going to call it photography with a purpose, or photography with a why that's steeped in anthropology.
Yeah.
There were so many take-homes from our conversation with Chelsé Storm Lilly. I really was so taken by her intentionality around moments and capturing those moments, but also being authentic and present in those moments. And she also reminded me how important listening is. And we know that, and we're in a listening profession, which is medicine. But having that reminder, being present and listening and being authentic. And I was so moved when she pulled out the camera that her dad sent her.
Sweet.
7 or 8 year old. Oh my gosh. That was great. It's
that common theme that kind of weaves through, the stories of not necessarily that one moment, but those small things that people do in our lives that sometimes, really create the path or, spark the dream. But yeah, that was beautiful.
It's the little things.
Yeah.
So what resonated with you?
So many, the backstory on, Chelsé Storm Lilly, as you know, she's my best friend from middle school, high school, little sister. Bridget Sims Lewis, her little sister. So I've known her since she was in her mom's belly. And so to see everything that she has accomplished in her life and just, overcome a really tragic accident. She had so many things that happened, but she continued to leap through and jump on these lily pads, and just to see the progression of who she's become in her career as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter, just all of those things. So it was the pearl is just, people are amazing and resilient and beautiful. And so I have to give a nod to her mother, Carolyn Woods as I give the shout outs, because I think that anthropology part and that curiosity really kind of stems from there. And then the beauty of her dad's giving her the camera. It's just beautiful, the things that people do in our lives and the things that you can do in someone else's life just by being intentional. So I won't go on about that. I loved her quote from Nikki Giovanni, once you know who you are, you don't have to worry anymore.
How about that?
Some of us know that early, and some of us, learn that later in life.
But knowing it and acting on it and,
that's true.
And living it, those are different things. And that really does require sort of the evolution and age and being comfortable in our own skin.
Wisdom. Yes. Yeah. Two other points. She wants her work to be accessible, and that resonated with me. I think in medicine, the things that we impart sometimes are so high level. And where I am right now and what I want to do is to make the message of good health to resonate with people on a lay level, like someone that doesn't need to have knowledge of the word hypertension, and all the medications and all these, but just to know that you need to take care of yourself and how you can take care of yourself and what is actually proven to help you along the way. So just making my
and
word
that's via health styles, correct?
It is. You're always so good at that.
Important.
But yeah, through health style, just making it accessible so that anyone that sees it or reads it or hears it can be helped by it, hopefully. And then showing up as your full self, and that again, that's wisdom and being comfortable in your skin and being comfortable, yourself and just showing up authentically, which she certainly did. So yeah, I was full. I am full at the end of this one. And anything else that you wanted to add?
I think this is one of our best conversations yet. Yeah. And I know that people will have lots of things that will resonate with them.
And to our audience and those who may be listening, we are very grateful that you were with us today and joined us on this episode. We hope something that was said inspires you, motivates you, would encourage you to share with someone in your life that you think might get some inspiration or knowledge from. And if you we would love for you to share, like, subscribe on YouTube, and you can find us at Boss Leap, LEAP, podcast.com. And please feel free to share with us anything that you'd like us to share in the future or ideas for future episodes, or anything that you think what might be helpful along the way for us. So again, we're appreciative of you, Sylvia. I'm appreciative of you and grateful. And until we meet again, may you be well.
May you be well.
That's a wrap on another episode of Boss Leap. May this conversation enlighten your path toward personal growth and professional empowerment. For more thought-provoking and eye-opening discussions like this one, head to our website at bossleappodcast.com. Always remember to celebrate your wins and trust yourself. A positive mindset can push you out of your comfort zone and into far greater heights. Until next time, may you be well.
Before we go, there's one more thing the lawyers have asked us to include. It's the legal language, and you know how doctors love lawyers. This podcast is presented only for educational and entertainment purposes. Although we are doctors, on this show, we are just your friends. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals. Understood? Awesome. We'll see you in the next episode.